Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. What we're going to be doing today is working out how to manifest or create some sort of magical orb or magical ball of some sort. So for this one, background doesn't really matter too much. So if you're outside with trees moving around, that doesn't really matter. Obviously, you just don't want anything too distracting in the background. So for this one, you're going to have to get your orb or ball, whatever you're going to use. So I've got a few there that you can choose from. Now, when you're looking at these, you've got to think, is it something that's growing? So does it start from nothing and grows into the orb? Or does it just kind of appear? So if it's something that grows, you'd start with your hands together and sort of grow it out. Or if it just appears, you might do something like throwing your hands together like this. Okay, so this is where the acting comes into it to make it look a little bit more authentic. Alright, now once you do yours, let's say we're growing, it's really important that we try to keep your hands in the same position, not moving up or down, left to right or anything like that. What you can do if you want to make it look more authentic, that you are conjuring this ball, you can move your fingers around a little bit, or you can actually pivot around the central point like this. Okay, that will help make it look a little bit more authentic. So let's say we're doing a growing one, it'll look something like this. You do a little pivot, and to finish it off again, just put your hands together. That's it. Alrighty guys, so I'm pretending that this is my clip that I've just shot for my power of the magic ball or magic orb. So what I need to do is make sure I've got all of my footage saved into the one folder here. So you've just seen that that is the clip that I'm going to be using. And then I've got two orbs that I can choose from. So the first one here, a bit of the Stormy Red, which is pretty cool. And then also the Eye of the Storm one here. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to use the Stormy Red, I think. Okay, so first thing you need to do once you've got all of that in the folder is open up a new Premiere Pro project. So that's the PR icon. Now we've already gone through this in another tutorial, so I'm not going to go through how to create a new project. What I'm going to do is take my original clip and just drag it straight into the timeline. Now as you can see here, we've got all of that spiel that I just did. Now I don't need all of that. All I want is that final part where I go through a potential finished clip. So I think it's about here. So what I'm then going to do is get my razor tool, snip it, and then get my selection tool, select the first part, and delete that there. Now, I can move this to the start of the clip, start of the sequence, sorry. Go to the start, hit play, and I've just removed the audio from this because we don't need audio. And that's pretty good there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my folder and grab the orb that I want. So I'm going to be using the red one, drag, now I'm going to pop that on top of my original clip. Okay, now if I press play now, orb appears. And when I clap, it's pretty close actually, timing wise, but we are going to mess around with this a little bit. Now obviously this orb is way too big, it's taken up the entire screen, it's going over my hands here, which doesn't look very authentic whatsoever. So I need to change the scale of this. I'm going to select the orb, I'm going to go up to effects control, and I'm looking for the scale, so scale being the size. Now I can click on scale, it's going to give me a center point here. Now at the moment the orb is too big that I can't see the handlebars, so I'm simply just going to drag the numbers to the left to make it smaller, and then I can use the handlebars. Now if you'd like to see the actual orb because it grows, just move it forward a little bit so you can get the correct size. Now I'm going to be working off when my hands are completely open, which is about there, to work out what size I want. So I think about there, maybe slightly bigger could work, and maybe even move it down just a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with that there. So if we play it from the start, size is definitely looking better. However, there are some issues with the start and end. So when we start, it grows, but it kind of overlaps my fingers a little bit there, where it should be growing within my fingers. So there's a few things we can do here. So I'm going to go to the point at which the orb is completely formed, and I want it completely the correct size, and I want it completely visible. We're going to play around with the scale first. So what we're going to do is add some key frames here. Okay, so at the point where I want it this size, I'm just dragging the line across, and this is just a zoomed up version here. I'm going to press the stopwatch. Okay, and that's just inserted a keyframe here. Now what that's saying is at this time, at this keyframe, the scale is going to be 47.9%. Alright, now I'm going to drag it back all the way to the start, and I'm going to add another keyframe, which is this here. You can see a little diamonds appeared, and I'm going to drag it all the way down to 0. So what it's saying is at this point, I want it to be 0% scale. Okay, so tiny. Now, if I drag the cursor along, you can see that now the orb is growing with my hands as if I'm manifesting it. Okay, same thing at the end. I'm going to drag to the end, and just before my hands start to clap together, add another keyframe. I'm saying at this point I want it at 47 scale, and then at the end of the clip, even just before, I'm going to add another keyframe and drop it all the way down to 0. So once again, if I play this, it should kind of shrink just as I clap. Now, once again, I'm not overly happy with that final product there because my hands are closed and I can still see that orb. And even at the start, it's not too bad there, but we are going to mess around with the opacity a little bit. So opacity is how visible it is. So what I'm going to do is drag the timeline in line with this keyframe. I'm going to go down to opacity. Exact same thing. Start the stopwatch, and I'm saying at this keyframe it's going to be 100%. I'm going to drag it back to the start, add another keyframe, and I'm going to drop that down to 0. So it's completely invisible, and it should, as it starts, grow and visibility increases. And then at the end, same thing, just at this keyframe, add another one, and at 100%, and then I might do this one a little bit quicker here, keyframe, down to 0. Alright, and if we play it from there, as you can see, it's a lot more seamless. If I play that from the start, it grows, and then by the end, it disappears when I clap it away. And that's as easy as that is, guys. Now, there's still a little bit more I could play around with, for example. So I'd probably want that appearing a little bit quicker because my hands are already completely opened. And at the end, maybe a little bit quicker as well. However, you now know how to do all of the techniques around this, so you can play around with that to create your own. Enjoy, guys.